Hey, welcome to the video. Here are some unique 90s movies that still hold up today. There are some not well known movies as well, but let me know in the comments what you have and have not seen. Number 1. Lord of Illusions. The movie is set in the year 1982 and is written by Clive Barker. The supernatural horror movie, released in 1995, tells the story of a fictional man who is named William Nix, who has created a cult which is located in what looks like an abandoned house in the Mojave Desert. The followers of the cult believe that their leader, William Nix, who goes by the name the Puritan, has real magical powers and who was about to sacrifice a young girl, who managed to run away and expire the cult leader during the botched ritual when the former members rushed the compound. But 13 years later, when Harry D. Moore, who is a private detective, ends up investigating a fraud case that takes him to Las Vegas, he meets a person who turns out to be Philip Swan, one of the former cult members, who has realized that not all has ended with the past, and with help from Harry will do anything to protect him and his loved ones against strange happenings. Number 2. Baby's Day Out. This American adventure comedy, released in 1994. The movie is set in Chicago about the Cartwell family, who want photographs taken of their baby Bennington Austin Cartwell, who shares the same name as his dad, and they want these photos to show off their baby in the newspaper. The family are waiting for the photographers to show up, and when they do, the family's help just roll the baby in the room and leave the photographers to do the job. But this is a vital mistake, as when the photographers leave, so does the baby, as the 3 photographers turn out to be kidnappers who hold baby Bennington for ransom. Side note, there is actually a real life kidnapped victim in another movie I will talk about later on in this video. Back to Baby's Day Out. The baby ends up becoming too much to handle for the criminals, as he just keeps on outsmarting them on all fronts. But does the baby end up back with his family? You will have to watch to find out. The movie was made for $48 million and then got back $30 million, and it was seen as a lacking movie that couldn't really hold your intrigue. Number 3. Ricky Ho. The Story of Ricky. In the Chinese martial arts movie, released in 1991, and is set in a prison in the year 2001, and has really well done practical effects with body horror and gore, but it's done in a way that is very far-fetched and unrealistic in parts, so it comes off as comical. Ricky, who has been imprisoned for manslaughter, ends up having to defend himself against a gang that works in coalition with the guards of the prison and its governor, who are growing opium in the prison. Ricky, who has super strength, has to come up with creative ways to destroy the 4 leaders of the gang. Each leader is in control of each wing of the prison, and these leaders have their own strengths and powers, and when these gang leaders start on his friends, this only makes him more determined to eliminate the gang. I couldn't find the budget amount, but it made 2.1 Hong Kong dollars. Number 4. Senseless. Marlon Wayans, David Spade and Matthew Lillard all star in the science fiction buddy comedy movie, which was released in 1998. The movie takes place mainly at Stratford University, as it follows economics students with varying backgrounds. There is Daryl Witherspoon, played by Marlon Wayans, Scott Thorpe, played by David Spade, and Tim LaFleur, played by Matthew Lillard. Darryl Witherspoon, who starts struggling with money, ends up selling blood and decides to get paid by taking part in medical trials. Scott Thorpe, who was born into money, and his dad works as a head of a bank, and so he's trying to work for his dad. Tim LaFleur is a straight-edge punk rocker who is friends of both Darryl and Scott, and he is on a hockey scholarship. Both Darryl and Scott end up taking part in a competition to get a career at a Wall Street bank, and the winner is declared at the end of the movie. It was produced for $15 million, and at the box office it received $13 million. Number 5. Biodome, starring Pauly Shore, Stephen Baldwin, Kylie Minogue, and Patricia Hearst, the real-life kidnap victim. I will talk more about this a little later. Released in 1996, Biodome tells the story of two friends while on a road trip accidentally getting trapped in an ecological experiment, which is funded to find out how 5 scientists would be able to deal with living without outside contact and having to deal with the same people all the time, and maybe even space exploration as well. The two friends, Bud and Doyle, get sealed and locked into the dome, and when they are discovered by the investor, they are contacted by the scientists. This leads them to causing outrage and panic. Also, they find out that they will be spending around a year of their lives in this highly controlled experiment, and for these two that will feel a lot longer. When the two friends can't get their own way, they end up purposefully destroying part of the dome and ordering pizza, showing a complete lack of respect. Patricia Hearst, who was kidnapped in 1974 when she was 19 years of age by the Symbionese Liberation Army, and was forced to rob banks with them, amongst other things. She has a small cameo role. Biodome was produced for $8.5 million and made back $13.4 million at the box office. Number 6. Tank Girl. Set in the year 2033, Tank Girl takes place in Australia, and she is a part of a commune which soon has to defend themselves and the rest of the world with the evil WMP Corporation, who are about controlling the water supply. As there is a global water shortage, the WMP, who will not stop at anything, suddenly attacks their stronghold to take control of the last free water well. For complete control, and while doing so, they take the life of Tank Girl's boyfriend, and kidnapping Tank Girl herself for interrogation, torture, and to enslave her. But Tank Girl manages to escape and stealing the tank, and this is where she gets her name from. She soon meets up with a group of super soldiers who are part human and part kangaroo to do battle with the WMP Corporation. WMP stands for Water and Power. Tank Girl, which is started off as a British comic book, didn't end up making back its initial $25 million budget, as it only recouped $6 million at the box office. Blankman, starring Damon Wayans and David Alan Grier. Blankman is an American superhero parody comedy released in 1994. Damon Wayans plays Darryl, a kind-hearted man who's always had a talent for inventing gadgets, and even a robot named J5 who is his best friend. Subscribe. Bye.